Hey, everybody. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Sean and Michelle. This is Sean and Michelle with Heroics.
Good morning, everyone.
Thanks so much for tuning in today to our third episode. So, as always, we went to our local coffee shop here in Frisco Square called Renew. Mm-hmm. Michelle, what'd you get today?
I got a iced latte with 2% milk and lavender and cardamom syrup. And
really?
It's amazing.
I've never tried cardamom syrup. How is it?
It's really good. It's I don't know how else to describe it other than just cardamom is a very floral taste similar to lavender.
Okay.
But cardamom is used a lot in like chai tea and stuff. So if you've had chai tea, then you've had cardamom. So you'll recognize it.
Okay. I'm kind of curious. Can I We're going to try this on air right now.
First react.
Wow, that's actually really good.
Yeah, isn't it?
That tastes like a wildflower field in the best possible way. Mm-hmm. I don't know how else to put it. It feels like I just took a little mental vacation to spring, like some kind of beautiful spring landscape. I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what did you get?
I have here a vanilla latte, super original, right? But
we love it though.
I love it. And I added a little cinnamon when I got home just to kind of spice it up.
There you go.
It is honestly, it's just great. I'm loving it.
Listen, the classics are classic for a reason.
It hits. It's so nice.
Yeah.
So perfect. Yeah. If you're in the Frisco area, we recommend Renew Coffee. Support local business. Yes. They're not paying us to say that yet, but one day.
Oh my gosh. They are fantastic. Check them
maybe
out.
They will. So perfect. So last episode, we talked about, you asked me a question that really spawned a 50-minute conversation.
Yeah.
Why life coaching? And I gave a very simple answer that lasted an hour. You saw the reel. Just fast forward,
Well, inside jokes.
Right? Yeah. For the ones that know, the real ones
we
got
see you, we love you.
Right? Thanks, heroes. Yeah. And I mean, it was a journey, and let's be honest, there were some ups, there were some downs, and there were some hard times and all of that, as we kind of talked about that, the different things I experienced that ultimately led me to, getting into the psychology program at UNT, but also going further into more holistic, whole person style healing growth. And how that led me to life coaching. So super great episode.
Yes. Check it out if you haven't.
Check it out. It is a journey.
Yes.
But if you want to know my journey, an Odyssey-like story, a hero's journey, a little old kid in the 90s going through a lot to finally become the Heroics life coach and founder. Definitely check it out. You'll learn a lot about our story, Heroics, but also my story too.
Yeah.
So great stuff. On that note, I wanted to ask you a similar question. Why yoga?
Oh, man. Why yoga?
Why yoga? Oof, I know. It's like, sounds simple, but there's a lot to that question, isn't there?
There is so much.
Yeah.
And to sound cheesy and poke fun at myself, you hear people say the saying, and for the longest time when I was very cynical and unhealed before yoga, when you hear people say like, oh, this band saved my life, or this and that saved my life. And you're like, okay, the cynic.
Blink-182 saved my life.
Yeah. And I admit, I don't like to, nobody likes to talk about their shortcomings. Right. But that was one of mine. I was like, oh, did it really? Sorry. That's probably unhinged. Maybe we should cut that out.
I've been there. No, it's okay. It's okay. We've been there.
But in all seriousness, it did save my life.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing is now I've been humbled. I've been humbled in many ways.
Isn't that but the main part of the hero's journey is to be humbled?
It is.
I'm sorry.
Oh, hi. You wanna be here too?
Arthur is guesting real quick, and I think Lily is joining in too. They had a lot on the topic of basically
I hope the mic picked that up.
bands that save lives and yoga saving lives. They've got a lot to say on the subject.
Okay.
Lily, did you want to jump up here too? Would you like to say something?
Okay.
I just wanted to say.
Okay.
I just wanted to say.
All right.
Okay. I don't know what I wanted to say.
All right. Maybe
Lily.
we could start over.
Yeah. Well. I don't know what was distracting about that. Actually, that was nothing.
Blooper reel.
Nah, it's coming into the real take. Love it. We might have like a button in the future. We'll call it like puppy flash mob.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's
I actually want to do this now. We'll hit a button. It'll be like puppy flash mob.
We'll have like tallies in the corner of how many times they pop
doggy
up.
cameos, things like that. We're building as we go, right? So if you have suggestions on fun little things you want to see in this series, you let us know. But I think puppy flash mob might be a thing we're going to do.
That might, although I don't know that anybody calls anything a flash mob anymore. That's kind of just like a 2010s thing. Let us know in the comments.
Is that a thing? I thought Kinko's was a thing until someone recently told me, like, bro, that like died like 20 years ago. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
That's how you know. That's how you know you're starting to get old. But I guess as long as he's doing his thing and not being
he's fine.
Too much.
Hi.
Right?
Okay.
Oh, he wants to say
Puppy
hello.
Mike.
Yes. Arthur, what
would you like people to know?
I need you all to know something. I am the king of this world. My name is Arthur. I don't know. I feel like
mine got so derailed so fast.
It did. It did. But we're gonna get back on track.
Okay.
That's part of the hero's journey. Is getting off the tracks, but then getting back on the track. He is so gonna do that. Okay. There you go. Right. Very good.
I promise my dress is clean.
It's a clean dress.
All right.
I was there. So yeah, anyway.
Let's just start over.
So
Renew Coffee is great.
So if you haven't gone to Renew Coffee, you definitely
check them out.
Yeah.
Very good. Support local.
So you were saying yoga saved your life. You were like, I used to be one of those cynical haters that was like, that band totally didn't save your life.
Yeah.
And
sorry
then you were
to
like,
everybody that has ever said that, and I silently judge them.
It's okay. I've been there too.
But yes.
If it was still like, well, yeah, we won't go down that trail. But it sounds like
let's not.
Let's not do that.
Let's not get canceled.
But you wanted to say how yoga really did save your life.
Yes.
So let's hear more about your story. Why yoga?
Why yoga? Whew, okay. It's like, do I start from chronological order, or do I do a Pulp Fiction type flashbacky?
Let's hear it in the most natural thing. What's the first thing that comes to mind about why you really wanted to become a yoga instructor, and what really led to that moment? And we can hop around. We can time skip. It doesn't have to be chronological. It's just more about.
I like that. This is a little Back to the Future.
This is an emotional journey, not so much a time A to B kind of journey. Yeah.
This is true. Well, as far as me wanting to teach yoga, when that first started, and I apologize if my story has some discrepancies because, time and memories don't always go together, but I feel like I was either 13, maybe 15. And, it's one of those delicate balances, right? Where you want to honor your experiences, and you also want to be mindful of how you present them, right? You want to be mindful of how you present events that involve other people, and you don't want to air out everybody's business. But we'll just say that
sounds like something happened in your life that's kind of sensitive that you may still not feel entirely comfortable sharing, but it was an important thing in your life.
We'll just say that for one reason or another, for a good chunk of childhood and pretty much my whole adolescence life, for one reason or another, I felt very isolated and alone, and trapped, if you will, and trying to find whatever ounce of peace you could find in a very tumultuous place in life. And, I had been introduced to yoga one of the times I visited my aunt in California on a family vacation trip. And oh my gosh, it was the best. The studio was dimly lit. They had the incense. They had the calming music. I'd never done a single yoga pose in my life, right? I'm brand new to it.
Yeah.
Didn't even have my own yoga mat, like borrowed theirs, you know. And I just remembered being in like child's pose. And if you know what child's pose is, it's the one where your big toes are together. You know, push your hips back and just stretch out forward. So you're almost sitting kind of crisscross, if you will, but almost just like in a more laying down position. And I just felt so much relief.
Yeah.
And doing the twist, like the supine twist, you know, where you're lying down and you have your knees 90-degree angle on one side of you and you're kind of twisting, looking to the opposite direction. And, you know, I didn't know the science behind it. I just knew the sensation, right? Of that relaxation, of that calm, of that peace. And, you know, I just remember being, you know, fast forward, right? Now I'm back home, you know, because that was just a family trip, right? I'm back in Texas. I'm 15 at the time. There are no yoga studios that are walking distance. I could just drop in, use some of my allowance money, right? Like this is just.
They didn't even have cowboy yoga.
No.
Which I don't know if that's a thing, but you'd think that would have been the first thing.
It might have been somewhere.
Maybe.
But
they didn't even have.
No.
There was nothing.
And
I do find it interesting that your first yoga experience was in California, right?
I mean.
So
yeah.
You had that. Yeah. And then you come back to a very different state, you know, similar actually in a lot of ways, but different in some pretty obvious ways.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's the thing too, is growing up, being that I was born in California and had family there and very much identified with a lot more of the culture of California and coming back. And of course, you know, here I am like, oh my gosh, yoga is amazing. And, you know, it's like, oh, that's so hippy dippy, right? It was like this whole different outlook on it. You know, here it was like, I almost felt like I had to practice privately. Like, oh, I can't tell anybody I do yoga. They're going to be like, oh, that weird girl, there she goes. I mean, I always was a weird girl, but.
And that's what I like about you.
Plot twist or spoiler.
Right.
But no, I mean, I think to bring it all back, you know, I just remembered, oh man, I was like 15 and no. How old was I? Maybe I was like, because I had enough money to buy myself a yoga membership on an app because I knew, okay, I can't find a studio. I can't afford to go to a studio. It's going to be too expensive. I worked like a retail job. I saved up enough money. And at the time, you know, it was a lot then. And even today would be a lot for me now. But I mean, it was like a $70 membership for the year. And it was like $70 membership on this app. I think it was called like Fitstar Yoga or something. And paid for this year-long membership. I had, through it though, they gave me my yoga mat, which I still have today. Shout out Gaiam. That yoga mat is like more than 10 years old. Still holding up great.
Wow. I didn't know that's actually where you got your yoga mat from.
Yeah.
I don't know why I never connected those dots. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I got that yoga mat. It came with a yoga block. It came with a yoga strap. No idea where the yoga strap went. RIP. It's somewhere. Who knows?
I think I shot it like a big rubber band. I thought that's what it was, and just it flew over the balcony edge, and that was it. I'm sorry about that. I never told you till now.
It's all good.
No.
So yeah, I had this kit. I was ready to go, and mind you, this was before, you know, you could stream your phone on your TV. This was before, you know, all of that, right? It wasn't that easy. I mean, YouTube was a thing, but it wasn't as saturated now as like it is now, right? Like it wasn't that easy to find a yoga flow for free. And so I had this app and I'd have it set up on my little phone screen. And I was just practicing by myself. And I have a very distinct memory. My first childhood doggy, my little sweetie Pookie.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, that dog was probably 13 or 14 at that time. I mean, got her in 3rd grade and she was still hanging in there with me.
She was about to get her driver's license.
Yeah. Sweet angel. I was doing one of my yoga flows and I was in everybody's favorite pose, mine too, Shavasana, right? Corpse pose at the very end of your flow when you get to just.
That's one pose I mastered pretty quickly.
Yes. So no, I'm playing. I was in that pose and I saw my Pookie just laying down right beside me. I mean, she was my angel, by my side all the time. And so she was just laying there on my yoga mat with me. And I was like, like I feel at peace, right? Because I'm the one who did the yoga flow. Let's be real. She might have done one like down facing dog, but I was like, man, she even feels calm, right? Like my calming presence is actually creating a calming presence for her. And I think that's kind of when that moment really clicked for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, to be frank, I was at a very low spot in life. I wasn't doing well with my mental health. My, home life wasn't that great. And so just being able to just lay on this yoga mat and just to silently exist and feel peace and feel calm. My anxieties quieted down. My depression, which I didn't know at the time was, subsiding just, ever so slightly after this flow. And just looking at my peaceful dog and feeling the peace inside, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to make it if I ever become a yoga instructor, because I know that, you don't get into yoga for money, right? Like it's just not there always. And so I think that's the thing, is it's like that balance, but you're just like, man, if I could help people, even in the midst of some of the darkest moments of their life, and they can find peace through yoga, because you at least have 5 minutes of the day, probably. You have at least 10 minutes of the day. But if you can make those 10 or 5 minutes for yourself in the middle of some chaotic stuff, and you're just like, oh, it's okay. That sucks. This is okay. And I just wanted to be able to bring that to others, the same peace, the same joy, the same resilience, the same, I can get through this,
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I want more than anything to be able to help others experience this too. And, I guess I've also, experienced a lot of bullying growing up, within my own family sometimes, and from kids at school too, and so it's just like, I'm very aware of what it is to be left out, forgotten, purposely cast out, or criticized, for XYZ, right? So my goal is, I want to create a safe place. Well, really, I just want to be a safe person for all. And I want to create a safe space, even if we're not doing yoga, even if, we're just talking, or you're just, visiting, or what have you. I just want to be a safe place for others. And, I just want to create a place through yoga, whether you're practicing at home virtually, or you are here in person with me, or I come to you, I think just being able to create a sanctuary for yourself and for others, and knowing that, you don't have to be flexible at all. You don't have to be athletic at all. You don't have to be a certain shape or size or any of that. Yoga, you don't even have to have the same belief system, like yoga is for everyone. Like yoga is not a religion. It's not for, only certain kinds of people, like I think that's the thing, is yoga is for everybody, and I want it to feel that way. And I just want to create connections,
Yeah.
just I don't know.
You want to create connections.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah. So I guess that's,
I like that.
To put it, I guess, succinctly, the reason I wanted to be a yoga instructor is because, as somebody who didn't feel a whole lot of peace at times for much of life, I found it through yoga. And I mean, I won't say that it was only yoga. I'll be transparent enough to say, like, I have gone to therapy. I have seen a psychiatrist. I have, been on medication. Still am. And, I think that's the thing, is, just being honest and real, but also saying, I without yoga, I wouldn't be where I am today, right?
Yeah.
Like yoga has done a huge part of it for me too. All of it has helped, but I feel like for me, the yoga is almost instant, right? Like, I mean, I might be having a stressful day or a stressful morning or month or year, but the moment I get on my yoga mat and I work out some stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, it's gonna be okay,
Yeah.
And so I guess that's the thing, right? Is I feel like, yoga is so wide and expansive in just all the different forms. And, I prefer the more, vinyasa kind of power flow, kind of fast energy, but I know that that's, not for everybody, and that's okay. And, honestly, personally, I probably need to do more of the yin or restorative, that slower form, but it's hard for me to want to sit still. But that's probably the one I need the most. But, I want to be able to learn enough of the different styles of yoga so that, if somebody's like, hey, I just need to unwind before bed, or hey, I've been really angry about this or that going on, and I need a way to work out the anger, or holding trauma like in the body or something, and I just need to release it. I feel like there's so many different poses that work in so many different levels, right? Works on the physical level, which also affects the central nervous system, which in turn affects your psyche. And so I think for me, it's kind of like yoga is the best way that I know to help people at all stages of life. But for me personally, from my anxiety and depression and CPTSD and OCD, I feel like, yoga has helped me get through a lot.
Sounds like it has, ever since you took that first trip with your family out to California. And I'm curious, what caused that trip to the yoga studio to begin with? Why did your aunt decide to invite you all out? Was it, oh, I just happen to have a class and you're welcome to join me? Or was it like, you were curious and you asked? Or was it, what was the story behind that? Because that sounds like that was your first encounter with it. And I'm really curious how that happened.
How yoga got introduced to my life. Yeah, that's a good question. I actually it's kind of funny. So I guess a little bit of Michelle genealogy, right? Some what is it? Family trees, history stuff. So so I will say that the genetics in my appearance are very strong on my mom's side. And a lot of my interest, personality, and that sort of thing, dad's side, right?
Yeah.
So my aunt on my dad's side, very, she's very much a big part of my yoga journey, and I take after her in a lot of ways, actually. And she actually, I believe, right now is I don't remember her position, but she's worked she's been a CFO at multiple like banking firms, and this is very dedicated career woman. I mean, work 60 plus hour work weeks.
Yuck.
Yeah. So she kicks butt.
She put in the work.
She puts in the work. She's a very hard worker. I mean, she does so many things for like charity organizations and that sort of thing. So she works very hard. Yeah. She has a big heart. And with that too, don't we all carry a lot of stress?
I was going to say, I bet I bet yoga was a lifeline for her with those 60-hour work weeks.
So I don't know. And that is actually a really good point. I should even ask her, like, what got her into yoga?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but yoga for her, that was her self-care routine. So she would work her 60-hour work weeks, and then she'd go to yoga like 3 times a week at least.
Okay. So y'all just kind of tagged along on one of the classes?
So really what it was, because again, I love yoga. Okay. So the great thing with yoga is, I mean, the poses, they already feel great because you are getting a deep stretch in the muscles.
Yeah.
But with that too, there's a lot of physical benefits to yoga, not just in, okay, you're stretching your muscles, which is still great. That is still doing wonders for people.
Yeah.
But there are certain poses that will massage your internal organs. There's so much, right? Yeah. It helps to drain the lymphatic system. There's so many great benefits to yoga.
Wow.
And if anybody has sciatica or back problems or arthritis or diabetes, or there's prenatal yoga for women who are pregnant. Like, there are so many different forms of yoga to help aid or support, all different. So that's why I say yoga is for everybody. So there is a form of yoga out there, I'm sure, for anybody, because yoga isn't just, those super twisty, bendy, impressive, which they are. They are still important and valid. And trust me, I love doing some fun ones, and I have some on my bucket list I want to do. But, I guess to bring it all back, my aunt had originally invited us because my dad injured his back when he was in his early 20s.
Oh, okay.
Moving heavy kegs, and didn't lift it properly and went too fast. And so,
because he works in the beer trucking industry, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So it was a work injury.
Work injury.
That's something I guess I have in common with him, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep, you do. And so he's messed up his back. And so that's the thing, is he's always struggled with lower back pain. And so my aunt said, Bob, you should come with me to yoga.
I love that.
And if you've ever met my dad, he is probably the last person you would picture at a yoga class.
Yeah.
For instance, my dad's favorite actor, role model, Clint Eastwood, loved very much a man's man kind of thing, but but in his own way, right? His own way. But I think that's the thing is, my dad loves golf. He loves being outside. Like,
he doesn't give the typical, has a hairband and long hair kind of vibe.
No, this my dad was pretty much a jock in high school. I get the impression, not like a stuck-up jock, but like my dad was very athletic. He was very into sports. I mean,
not exactly a vegetarian either.
No, so
he could grill some amazing stuff. Just gonna say,
yeah. So she was like, "Come on, Bob, just come with me to one of my evening yoga classes." Yeah, and he's like, "I don't know." He was like,
I'm so sorry. Like a minute ago, I inhaled a fruit fly.
Oh no!
I was trying not to cough.
Our podcast has been a very interesting one.
It always is. I don't know what it is about this summer that we have one or two little fruit flies that always kind of just flutter around. And I think right whenever I laughed, I went, and I felt something go right in the back. And I've been trying to hold it down, but.
Oh, hun, babe.
We got a first here. Man, what a time.
Yeah. Well,
give me just a moment.
Yep.
Give me just a moment. Okay. Take two.
Oh, that was dirty.
All right.
I
think I've washed the fruit fly down.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Maybe we'll cut that part too.
Yeah, let's not.
Unless you like gross humor. Anyway, so your dad was invited for yoga to help with his
back pain. Yes. And I remember, I think it took a little bit of convincing, and she had to be like, okay, it's a dark room. Nobody's going to see you. Because I think my dad's biggest thing is and I get it. I do, and I think that's valid, right? Is I think yoga can be really vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the thing is you're in a room full of strangers. You maybe have or have never done these poses before. So you're like, I don't even know what they're saying. You want me to put my foot where now? I think there's a lot that goes into it, especially for somebody who's very new to yoga. It can be overwhelming because you're like, oh, where do I set my mat?
Yeah.
And so I think there was that. And I think there was just the vulnerability of oh my gosh, I'm going to be in this weird pose and I'm going to look like a dork or whatever. Right.
Sure.
So eventually my dad, gave in. He's like, fine, I'll go to one. And, it was great because, my aunt being very experienced in yoga, she knew okay, before class starts, we're going to get there a little early. I'm going to talk to the instructor and I'm going to say, hey, I've brought my brother. He's got some lower back pain. So if there's any way you can throw in a little bit of some back relieving yoga poses or just be mindful, that you have somebody in your class that has a little bit of that going on. And she was like, absolutely, I've got you. And I don't know if she just added them in on the fly or what, but the class was seamless. My dad felt amazing. He was like, I haven't felt that much relief in so long. And the instructor was so good. it was one of those things where like you see it in a TV show, I feel like, and there's that like that divine light, like, oh, like that's literally what my first yoga class experience is. So I don't remember the studio, but it was amazing.
Oh,
I think I saw part. I think I saw him fly out.
Why? I never swallow flies.
Okay, maybe it wasn't in the cards for me. Maybe we should record another day.
No, I think we're gonna keep going, but can I drink some of your coffee?
Oh my god! Just don't backwash. Just don't backwash.
I promise I won't.
I don't want a fly in my coffee.
I didn't want one in mine either, and I didn't. But somehow, what are the odds? Well, can we just take a moment to just sort of feel and be present in the recognition?
I feel like we have to do a guided meditation now over this fly.
A flighted meditation.
Flighted meditation. Okay, so let's go ahead.
Yes.
Lower our eyes gently.
Okay. Yeah. And let's
get in a comfortable seated position.
Just recognize that I swallowed a fly.
I can't. I really tried, you guys.
And be with it.
Okay.
And just.
You going to guide this meditation? Am I going to guide this?
Maybe it's a team guided meditation. Okay. I think the tickle in my throat is gone. Because I was trying to ask you a question, and then I felt inside little. And I was like, oh, fuck. I don't think.
Oh. Okay. What?
There's always something interesting going on morning coffee. We'll just put it that way right now. We're going to skirt. So, from what I'm getting here, because I think I'm ready to go back.
All right.
You really have done an excellent job of explaining that it sounds like your dad was experiencing with some back problems. Yeah. Your aunt had some experience, brought him in. Mm-hmm. I'm curious. Where did you fit into that picture? Why didn't you just decide to stay home and draw on a coloring book or something? Why did you go?
Why did I go?
Yeah, why did you go? Because it makes sense why your dad went.
Sure.
So how did you come along?
I think in a way, I did. I looked up to my aunt. In a world where I feel like even in the 90s, there was still some pretty apparent misogynistic things going on, and in media and everything else. And kids they pay attention, they absorb these messages. And, I think that's the thing is my aunt, here, my aunt is just, it's one of those things where, you forget that successful people are also just everyday people, right?
Right.
And I think that's the thing is my aunt inspires me so much because, on paper, right, my aunt is just like any other person in the sense that she grew up in Orange, California before the housing market, before all the prices shot up. Like they moved out there in the 70s, right? And so she grew up, went to high school, went to college, she actually worked full time and went to school full time.
Wow.
Yeah, or maybe she worked full time and went part time. I don't remember, but But either way, she was hustling, right, at a very young age.
Yeah,
and she's just made a name for herself. She's very successful, and so I went because I was like, oh, I want to be like Auntie, I look up to her, and this is how she stays level headed, in such a stressful environment.
You saw a successful woman,
right,
and instead of and it gave you an idea that this was something you could do too.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to be like her. I want to do what she does. She was a role model for you.
She was.
So even in that way, it was her whole life. It wasn't just the fact that she did yoga, but the fact that you saw how she kind of transcended the narratives.
Yeah.
And even like you said in the 90s, even today still.
Oh yeah.
That, she was able to achieve way beyond, what I bet some guys were, even happy about, she was able to make her way up there. And you were like, I love that.
Yeah. And I think, I think that's the thing is, different obviously, but, still as a teen, right. I'm like, man, I know that you've got adult stress, right? I have a different kind of stress, but still feeling ooh, I want to go, I'm interested. Right. And And I didn't know much about yoga except for like what I saw on TV. And I'm like, well, it looks pretty. It looks cool. You know, like I was just a normal teenage girl. And I was like, I want to be pretty. I want to look cool, you know?
Yeah.
And sure enough, I mean, it was such a relaxing, peaceful environment. And it became so much more. It was like, whoa, not only was that fun and challenging, but also I feel so relaxed. I was like, I feel so great.
Maybe for the first time in your life,
yes.
Right? Because you were saying you never had that moment of peace. It was always something that evaded you. So being able to go to yoga, experience that, like you said, in child's pose, and then even later, finally back at home when you got the chance to practice after scrounging up your own money to buy a membership, and you're laying there and your little dog is even feeling more relaxed around you because you're more relaxed.
Yes.
I mean, that's huge. It sounds like this finally, in your young years, and then even later, as you said, there were other things in your life that also helped you, help heal and grow and help you with your stress. Right. But yoga was one of the first things that you ever encountered that helped you with that in a really tangible way.
Yes.
It became an escape when you couldn't physically go anywhere else. It became a way for you to sort of transcend that situation.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's extremely powerful. I think.
Oh, yeah. And I think before I had enough experience to know, because now I know what was going on, there were grounding techniques going on in that class, right? Yeah. I'd never done meditation. Nobody had ever told me to or guided me in a way of like, hey, right now, this is 30 minutes to an hour of time that you've set aside for yourself. And if you have a passing thought like, oh, my grocery list or this or that, just let it go. And I'd never heard that before. And being able to hear that, I was like,
you're like, I can do that?
I don't need to worry.
I can do that?
I don't need to agonize. I can just exist.
Right.
I was like, what is this?
Totally opposite of what you were kind of experiencing.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, I've got to do this. Oh, I've got to do that. Oh, mind's always fretting. You're always stressed out. Mm-hmm. And then it's like a constant, like, it's like wearing shoes that are too small, all the time. You're just like,
And when you finally get to take them off, and you're like, oh, I can do that.
Oh my God.
I can do that.
I didn't know I could do that.
Oh my God, this feels amazing.
Yeah. You're like, wait a minute. Yeah.
And so I think that's the thing is, I mean, I was able to do that for myself at home, and, it's just amazing.
I love that. I think something else you said about that first story you shared was really powerful. I mean, there's a lot you shared that's powerful here, from learning from the great example of your aunt to that kind of chance encounter, like that could have not happened. Like that may not have ever happened. And then who knows, like maybe somewhere down the road, but you never really know. Right.
Yeah.
Powerful. I think something else that was really cool about what you shared was how when you were relaxed, your dog was also relaxed. Yeah. And I think, we've talked about like mind-body connection in a few other episodes. Yeah. And this is kind of related, but I wanted to kind of go in a different direction of like, I guess, co-regulation, the idea that who we are around, our environments really do make an impact on us, good or negative, or a mix of both or what have you. What was it about that moment, about seeing your dog relaxed next to you at the end of your yoga session or your yoga practice, that really spoke to you? And I mean, is that something that's still like a part of your philosophy or your worldview today, I guess?
And I'm sorry, in what way exactly do you mean?
Let me ask it like this. What was so powerful about seeing your dog relaxed next to you while you were, when you finished your yoga?
Okay. This is a heavy one for me, but I guess to put it as succinctly as I can, I didn't feel like I had safe people. I didn't feel that I had anybody in my life at the time. Thankfully you are. But before we were together, right? And so I didn't have anyone that I really felt I could feel at peace with.
Yeah.
And felt like I was always on edge. and felt like I had to either shrink myself down or, I just feel like I didn't have anybody immediately around me that I could feel like I could lay down next to and feel complete peace. And so even though I know there's this whole argument, right? That like, oh, people aren't the same as dogs. Okay, fine. But you know what? I will say I love creatures of all shapes and sizes. And, I think that's the thing is I love dogs. And I just feel like, what dogs know? Like dogs know good people and dogs know people that aren't as great. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that, I'm a teen, right? Trying my best to thrive. And, and then just knowing like, okay, I did something nice for myself to center myself. But then seeing my dog so at peace next to me, like completely asleep. I mean, I almost cried because I was like, oh my gosh, like I am a safe space for my dog. I am a safe person for my baby girl. Like she feels so trusting and at peace with me because I put myself in a place mentally, spiritually, and emotionally to where I was at peace. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be this person. Right. Like always. Like I want to be this kind of person. I want to be the person my dog thinks I am, right? Like I want to literally, as at peace that she felt near me because I was that peaceful of a presence. Right. I want to live my life like that always. Yeah. Like at 15, I was like, done. That's what I need. That's what I need. That's my goal in life is to be that person. Yeah. For myself and for others, be that person. Like if no one else is going to be that for you, then I'll be that person for you, and I think that's the thing, right? Is it's like, yeah, man, I just feel like yoga really, it changed my life. And now I'm like, oh, I get it. Sorry, y'all. I shouldn't have been so cynical. I get it now. Yoga saved my life. And I just feel like, there's so many aspects to yoga. Like you said, the mind-body connection. And, the yoga poses are a huge part of it. And they are definitely the entry point. And then the more you start doing it for yourself and the more you, experience other instructors and the different flows and the different types of yoga, you'll find the one that resonates with you the most. But, I was searching for stability and a sense of grounding. And, oh my gosh, there are so many good yoga flows for that, for grounding and the affirmations. And so it's just one of those things where it truly has made me a better person. And, if I can do that, with some of my own mental limitations that I put on myself, right? Some of my own obstacles I created, and I can still, then anyone can. And I just feel like I would be so happy to walk alongside anybody that wants to go on a yoga journey.
Yeah. It sounds like you really experienced firsthand how important it was to, well, I mean, there's a lot of directions you can go with this, but when you found a way in that environment that you were in to find peace within yourself, it started to emanate outwards towards others. Yeah. And I can't remember the exact, secure base of attachment. I mean, you could go to attachment theory even, there's a famous video when we were, I guess psychology was starting to study this of like, little baby monkeys. And the ones that would run to their mom were the ones that felt like that was a secure base of attachment. If they would go out and explore the world a little bit, and then once they started to feel a little scared or overwhelmed, they would try to go back to mom basically and kind of co-regulate. They didn't know how to do that for themselves yet, right? Yeah. And it sounds like in a way, Pookie was your baby monkey, and you were kind of the stressed out mom for a little bit. You were working, you were going to school, you were doing a lot. It was overwhelming. It's hard, but the yoga helped you find that place, and she naturally picked up on it. Yeah. And from a dog standpoint, I will need to double check this, but I'm pretty certain that dogs, I've read, can actually smell like stress on people.
Babies.
I need to check that. So
I believe it.
Check your sources. I'm not saying this like I'm pretty sure it's true, but I'm pretty sure dogs can actually pick up on like your cortisol, things like that. There's a lot that it can pick up on.
Yeah.
And they can sense that. And it sounds like they finally were able to come to you and feel relaxed. It sounds like you realized in order to be at my best for others, because it is for you.
Yeah.
You needed it for you.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really important.
Yeah.
You also realized that in order to be my best for others, for my dog, for my friends, for my family, for my coworkers, this helps me too.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, I'm walking around right here. And if somebody catches me on a bad day, woof.
Duck and cover.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
No. I mean, 100%. I think that's the thing is like you said, I recognized then, and I unfortunately did kind of fell out of habit with it. And in recent years picked it back up full force because I mean, I think that's the thing is like you said, it's important to do it for you, right? Because obviously that's how it should be. It should start that way. But then too, you realize, like you said, well, it's not just for me now. It's for everyone's benefit. And I am a better person for it, like than when I don't. And I think that's the thing is like, yeah, man, life's tough. Life's tough.
Yes, it is.
And I feel like, why make it harder? And I think that's the thing, right? Is like, I'll be honest, there are days where I'm like, I do not feel like doing yoga. And then I'm like, okay, but you're going to feel so much better if you do. And so I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'll wake up early.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh my God, that was great. I should have done that before,
Yep.
So I think that's the thing is, I mean, gosh, yoga's my life.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, I feel like, okay, I'm gonna poke fun at myself. Yes, I'm a yoga girly and I totally have a lotus tattoo. But I said, I'm not gonna look like a yoga mat. But I really
wait, I think you need to explain that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I was like,
all right,
sorry,
so
you're not gonna look like a yoga mat.
Okay. So hello, my name is Michelle Spray.
My name is Michelle Spray.
I don't know. I am very weird. Okay. So I
just
always
own your weird truth, baby.
I am,
So
okay. So when I was
you're keeping me in suspense.
Okay. So piecing together my red string. So I wanted to be a yoga teacher. I was like, I want to teach other people. I want to do this. I want other people to feel at peace. I have gone through it and I want a reminder of like stuff because I don't want to cuss on this podcast.
Well, we've said bad words, but you do whatever you want.
Shit's real, y'all. And
it can be real.
And I think that's the thing is, I went through it and I was like, you know what? Okay, but I'm gonna overcome this somehow. I'm gonna end up on the other side of all of this, and I am gonna be the nicest, kindest, most sincere, genuine version of myself. And I just, I just like made this commitment to myself that I was like, I am going to be, whereas I'm getting messaging of who I am that I know is not true. I was like, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong even harder. And it was just like, what?
Your revenge was being a good person.
Yes, basically. Like, no, I am a good person and I'm going to own it. And so I think that's the thing is, I don't know how I got on this tangent, but
something about being
yoga mat. Right. Yoga mat. Okay. Full circle.
Yeah,
so
really, I'm still.
Yes. So
all this is great. I've gotta understand what you mean.
Okay. So I don't even know how I came across it, but there's a lot of lotus motifs in yoga and in Buddhism and other stuff like that. And so I was kind of curious and I was like, oh, what is it about this lotus flower?
Yeah.
I always thought that, water lilies and lotus flowers were pretty.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the symbology behind it.
Right.
I just knew, oh, these are pretty flowers. Like I love how they just flow on the water and they just look like they're hanging, just floating. But I did more research, right? And I saw that they are considered a symbol in many cultures of rebirth, of overcoming obstacles, because plot twist, spoiler, lotus flowers grow from the muddy water. They grow from the mud. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like done deal.
That
like,
sounds like somebody I kind of know.
And so I was like, oh my gosh. And that's the thing is the messaging is that through murky, muddy waters, right? The lotus flower always comes up and blooms above it all, rising above. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get that tattooed on my body somewhere.
I love that.
But I was like, okay, but I'm not going to get, and I want to be mindful. I don't want to knock anybody that has this tattoo. But I have seen some tattoos of a lotus flower, and I'm like, I don't want to look like my yoga mat, though. Like, I don't want to have one.
The one maybe that kind of looks like a flash art piece.
It's one of those things, and you've heard people say it, probably granola girls. I'm like, I kind of am a granola girl, but I don't need to granola that hard.
Yeah, you're like a granola light, granola crunch,
granola crunch on like your parfait.
I like that.
Actually, I don't eat parfaits, but anyways,
maybe yogurt parfait. That now I'm hungry. Maybe that's what we do after this.
So, anyways, I didn't want to look like. I didn't want my tattoo to look like a print that you'd find on a yoga mat. So
we got it.
We got
the answer.
That's it. Ding, ding, ding. So anyways.
I think that was probably the most.
I think we spent more time on that than like my story of being how I wanted to become a instructor.
Probably. No, not really.
Okay. But anyways, so I don't remember how we got on this topic about my tattoo.
But I love it. I mean, kind of getting back serious again for real. Is
shout out Ethan Musgroves if anybody needs a tattoo artist.
And it's a gorgeous tattoo.
Yes.
I think oh my God, where was I going to go with this? I mean,
maybe it was a reminder.
It's very spiritual and powerful.
Yeah.
It's a good symbol for you. And that's right, where I was going to go with this is it sounds to me as though, and you've told me, and I know like you've done a lot in your life. Mm-hmm. What you really sorry, I'm like
it's okay.
Word salading.
We are on a roller coaster podcast.
Right.
And that's okay.
That's what we do.
We'll eventually get back to the loop.
We will. We'll get there. Loop. But it's always a journey. Yeah. So you have been doing a lot of work, a lot of cycle breaking, a lot of healing, a lot of growth, generational work that's going on. Mm-hmm. And though it is not just yoga, I know you've also done your own journaling. You've done therapy. You've done life coaching. Yeah. You've done.
Thanks, coach.
you've found like supportive community partners, your friends. You've got like your support group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
Yes.
You study on your own. Yep. There's a lot.
Yeah.
It sounds like yoga is one of those big pillars in that bigger story for you. Yeah. So whether someone is like, I work a busy life and I have a busy life, and I just kind of need this to.
There's that other fly.
That fly. Yep.
It's mad. You ate its partner.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I really didn't mean to.
Oh my God.
Shoot. You're attacking the tree now. Why are you attacking the tree?
No, I was trying to use it to fan it away.
Oh my God.
This is a mess.
I love this episode. Okay. Whoop. So whether someone is just looking to balance their day and de-stress because they've got a lot on their plate, or
there's a fly in the room.
Or they are doing very deep work.
Yeah.
Yoga seems to be a good support, or even if you've got back issues or mild physical pain, or even people with like different physical disabilities or things like that can all benefit from this. It is a supportive practice. It sounds like.
It is.
Is it a one-all? Maybe it is for some people.
Sure.
Maybe some people need more, but it's so helpful to have it in your I don't know, I call it a tool belt.
Sure.
But whatever, in your assortment of self-help resources, it has been an amazingly powerful, thing for you and for so many other people.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing is, like I said, I still carry with me those comments that I've received, after yoga flow classes of just like, oh my gosh, I felt so at peace. I fell asleep right away.
Yeah.
Or, oh my gosh, I feel so much more limber. I feel so relaxed. And I think that's the thing is it's like, yay.
Yeah.
This is what it's about.
That's what it's about.
That's what it's about. It's, you know, it's just like, it's one of those things where you'll get out of it as much as you put in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing, right? Is it's like, even in my book, Light on Yoga, you know, that is basically the yogi Bible.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was in a slump, hadn't done my yoga in a while. And I literally read it. It was like, you will not be a master in yoga if you don't practice yoga. And I'm like, you know, that's pretty deep. That sounds so surface level, but that's pretty deep. Like,
yeah,
you're not going to really gain anything if you're not doing it. And I think,
yeah,
you know, I think that's the thing though, is that even if you do 5 minutes a day, oh my gosh, those 5 minutes are great.
Yeah.
I mean, there are days in the office, right? Like I commute because I still have a full-time job. And I commute, and I mean, I'll get like, I work in trucking. It is very stressful.
It's actually, yeah, I mean,
it's very stressful.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
But, you know, even in the middle of my workday, like I will be in the office and I'll take a moment and just
yogic breathing.
I'm like, okay, let me take a deep breath before I respond to this email.
Yeah.
Let me stretch out the wrists, right? Yeah. I'll do desk yoga at my desk, but you know, I got you. If you need any discreet desk yoga where you're like, I'm going crazy, I got you. And so I
think we're all going crazy a little bit lately, and with everything going on.
And so I think that's the thing, right? Is like just finding little ways to just add it into your day, or, you know, just dedicating that time. Like, you know what? I'm penciling in 30 minutes for myself today. I am going to do some yoga after work, or I'm going to do some yoga Saturday morning. If you want to join.
She's great.
Virtually. But
I'm biased, but she's really great. All her clients say it.
But I think that's the thing, is I just feel like, I don't remember the question, but
I don't either.
Just, you know, I think that's the thing, is that yoga, whether you go into it because you're like, I just need stress relief, I'm really tense, or you're like, I'm angry and I do not know what to do with this. Let's take it out on the mat, man. Like, let's just, you know, get into some yoga poses, use that strength that you've got, that inner strength that you have to, you know, test your outer strength. Oh, I'm here for y'all.
I love that.
And I think that's the thing, is like, you know, even if you're just like, you know, oh, I want to be more athletic, we got you there too. I mean, I think that's the thing, is that there are so much you can do with yoga. And
I've been trying to get a bigger, rounder booty. Would that?
You can definitely get a rounder booty with yoga.
Yes.
We can help you with that. We'll do a lot of warrior 1, warrior 2.
Cool.
We'll do a lot of low lunge, high lunge.
I make all these jokes, but in all truth, it sounds like honestly a fantastic journey from a young child, honestly, that found themselves in very stressful circumstances, who kind of by chance, in a way, through a family member, discovered yoga in an entirely different state.
Oh yeah.
And then came back to a state where some circles even thought yoga was a sin and would summon demons. I wish I was making that up.
I've had people say that to me.
Or that it is a form of idolatry. It is not. I want to be very clear.
Yeah.
So you went from a very different whiplashy kind of cultural, you know, situation, but you learned to practice it on your own. You found this really worked for you.
Yeah.
It gave you that peace, that inner peace that emanated outward, to the point even your dog could tell. Yeah. And you realized, man, I'm trying to do some work on myself. I'm trying to heal. I'm trying to grow. And I'm going to take every resource I can. And one of those that's always been there for you, always supportive, helps reduce that stress, help increase that inner peace, that mindfulness, that kind of just helps you support the kind of person you want to be, is yoga. And now you have the opportunity to get to share that with other people, whether it's as simple as, I'm trying to grow my booty 2 sizes before swimsuit season, even though that's already happening. But, you know, or it's like, I'm trying to do some deep, deep work on myself. And this helps me to release my trauma. Yeah. This helps me to help feel better, more relaxed, more at peace. It supports my life in a very, very deep and profound way. It's amazing the range that yoga, that yoga can have. It is so.
Oh yeah. Big and small.
Right. Even though to the untrained eye, it kind of looks like, you know, poses but you could have 10 different people doing the same pose
and get something
for
different.
10 different reasons and all coming out of it enjoying that experience. And it's a privilege now that you get to do that for others.
Yeah, it really is. It really is something special, because I think, when you're like, man, I know this works for me, but I don't have the luxury of either being able to, afford a yoga studio membership or even find one. Because at the time they were so few and far between, and they still kind of are sparse here.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't have an instructor here to correct my form. So I've got to really study to make sure I don't injure myself. So, even before I started my yoga teacher training, I was constantly trying to figure out, like, what is the proper alignment? What is the proper pose? Because I was like, I don't want to injure myself in my, my bedroom. And I'm just like, cracked, just like, oh, help, So I was like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm doing. So I need to make sure that I know what I'm doing. And so, that's how I learned how to do yoga. Was I basically was self-taught. And I think that's the thing is, I have gained from this yoga course that I've been taking. It's been amazing. It's like, just like adding on to the stuff I already have learned on my own. But, I think that's the thing is it's like, it's so cool because it's like, it's one thing when you practice by yourself, and it's listen, I love it. It's my life. It really is. But, also being able to share that with somebody else is it's very cool in a different way. It's cool knowing that, you've studied, you've practiced, you've done this for a while, and now you're showing somebody how they can do it. And you're like, I'm going to take some of that heavy lifting that I went through of trying to teach myself. Like, I'm going to guide you through it so that you're not like, wait, is my arm right? So that way you're not questioning, like, am I going to injure myself in my apartment?
So you have all that valuable experience to be able to pass on to others. It's rewarding to see them getting it. Yeah. And now you get to help people in a way, like you said, whether there's a yoga studio around you or not. Yeah. If it's like, there's none around me, or this one costs like a heck of a ton of money. Right. You're like, I can help you. And it's affordable. Yeah. And I've learned, I was first self-taught. Yeah. And then I'm now formally taught. Yeah. And I'm building all of that knowledge, those years of experience together in a way to really help people experience what you've experienced and as well do this with good form, for their safety and stuff like that too. What do you think, Arthur? What I want to say.
Oh man.
Is that I'm going to eat this microphone.
No,
and then
baby.
I'm going to eat this other microphone.
Baby, okay, come on. I love you. Come on. Get down, baby. Oh, I know, buddy. I know. Oh.
I'm the king. You can't put me off the couch. Well.
So. Right. We were talking about my offerings, basically.
Yeah.
And I guess, I don't know where we are on time.
We are at an hour.
Okay. Well,
so how about we do a quick, like kind of a
wrap up.
Yeah. So how about you kind of quickly tell us about what Heroics Yoga currently offers?
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap with that.
Yeah. So, Heroics Yoga. Oh, bloopers. Heroics Yoga is now offering virtual yoga classes every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard. It would probably be a 30-minute beginner's yoga flow. So I want to just preface that, all levels welcome. I'll be sure to include a little bit like, some intermediate poses if anybody chooses to go further, if they're experienced and they want a little more. But definitely this is like, you've heard the word yoga and that's it. Maybe you have a yoga mat. But I'm offering virtual classes, $16, drop-in rate. You can subscribe. Link is in the bio. You can subscribe and, register. That's the word. Register. English. ESL kid. So yeah, you can register for the class online. And yeah.
What about your one-on-ones?
Oh, and my one-on-ones. If you are, in the DFW Metroplex, we are based in Frisco, Texas. So if you are, I'd say about like 25, 30 miles in this radius, and if you either want to come practice yoga, I say studio, but it's our apartment.
It's almost a studio apartment.
Almost. No, it's bigger. But, if you want to come here and practice yoga with me here in person, or if you'd like Sean and I to go meet you, at your home, basically, I can do one-on-one coaching as well. For my virtual classes, they are group classes. So it's led in the way of, catering to a wider audience. So a little bit less customized there, right? It's just kind of a general feeler for everybody and anyone. But my one-on-one coaching services are, message me for pricing. But that would be something where, I have a survey that you fill out basically along with my, new client intake forms. But basically like anything that you are in need of, I have put together customized chair yoga for those who were unable to, get on their knees or something, or get on the ground, for issues standing back up. So I've made chair yoga flows. I've done relaxation wind down yoga flows. I've even done some more, higher impact, like, fitness oriented yoga flows. So, I can do kind of a good range of different things. So, that's what my one-on-one coaching would be more of, is it's more of a personal approach. It's more of me, having the flow prepared for you and basically walking you through it, helping you with your alignment, helping make sure that you get the most out of your practice. We have props, so we have the blocks and all of that. So, I'd be ready to help you with that. So,
and do you do one-on-one virtually too?
I certainly can do virtual. I forgot to mention that. So yes, I have done one-on-one yoga coaching virtually. So in the comfort of your own home, I send you the link and everything. And, whether you want to listen to a yoga flow that I've put together, like playlist wise, or you want to listen to your own music, but, as long as you have your camera on so I can see that you're safe, right? And then you can see me, we can go through the yoga poses together that way. So,
perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Michelle, for guiding us through your journey today, and for hanging with me when I accidentally swallowed a fly. That was a new one.
That was something.
Look at you. What a little baby boy you are, Arthur. I'm honestly so grateful to get to hear this story. I've heard it, but I know that not everybody else has. So I'm so glad that everyone has a chance now to finally know a little more about the story behind the yogi, and hear more about how you got into this, what it means to you, and how you help others. I think that's really awesome. So if you're interested in signing up for Heroics Yoga, you can go to the Heroics Yoga Instagram. As she said, the link's in the bio for the group classes. You can also visit the website that we have now, which we'll have in both of our Instagram bios, where it talks about the one-on-ones. Feel free to email us, to DM us, whatever helps out. It's great. It's really good. I mean, I'll be honest, I've always kind of struggled to get into yoga, but it's something I really like, and I've started to really get into it more myself. I tried it when I was younger too. I really liked it, kind of for the same reasons as you. Kind of fell off it, but recently, have gotten back into it again in the last few months, and she's been able to help me so much because I never went to a studio. I was watching YouTube videos. I know a lot of people watch YouTube videos, and they can be really good. But one thing that kind of lacks there is that the YouTube video can't help guide your form. It can't help make sure that you're not going to get injured, or help to get into a certain pose, or how to move, how to customize it for you. I really feel like being able to have that experience has been really helpful for me, because I didn't realize that I was doing child's pose, I think, actually wrong. There's so many instances to say I was kind of overstretching my arms and could have risked injuring my shoulders. So I didn't realize that one little tweak actually really made a big difference. So I think that's pretty cool. So so thanks so much for listening, y'all.
Thanks for watching.
And what do you think, Arthur? You got any words you want to say? Oh, I got an idea. Arthur, bark. Bark? Arthur, bark? Bark? Oh.
Bark? Oh. He's trying to eat the microphone.
They're just like, circle pit. Circle pit.
I want to see you guys open up this pit.
Right. Very different vibe.
Well,
Love it.
I also have metal yoga flow.
She does. It's really cool. All right. Okay. We'll talk to you later. All right. Bye.
Bye, friends.